Welcome back. Bushon here. We're out here broadcasting live right now at the North Shore Republican Club. You can hear it maybe a little bit in the background. We have the filters turned up right now. But the Keep America Free Gala event, and I'm very, very excited because it's a big push for the Republican Party, getting the candidates out here. There's 13 candidates that are out here today, very similar to the 13 original colonies, I guess. And, you could just feel the energy that's in the room. We've had several broadcasts that have been uploaded to Be First in Media, up to the YouTube, up on our BFIM network, and it's all going along very well. These soft launches we've been doing over the last week and a half have done very well. I'm excited because this person, you would say, has dedicated part of her life to keeping the message coming out to you and the facts, and she's doing it with the Travis County Republican Party. As Chairman Dr. Rosemary Edwards. I like to call her my friend also because I like friends that are not afraid to get out, get the word out, especially because this is a difficult time to be in politics. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Craig. And I just want to say it's incredible that you are taking the approach to really get the information on the local level out. Is so difficult to get, even get a name and a face with a candidate, and to give them a forum, give them an opportunity to speak their mind, to talk about their principles, and to be heard. It's expensive to get paid media. And
they're harder to find. Have you noticed how it's almost called local media?
It's not.
It's amazing, especially on politics too, and in the city of Austin, Texas, where I would say we'll call it our headquarters for Be First in Media. If you happen to have an R behind your name, it's even harder to get the media out there. So I'm very excited about what we're doing here, and thank you very much for that compliment.
Thank you.
So now tell the folks a little bit about where we're at today. This isn't the first year it's happened. It's been going on for 8, 9, 10 years now, and so talk a little bit about the gala.
Well, the North Shore Republicans in Lago Vista, which is north of the Lake Travis, they have a very active Republican club. They've been doing great work for about a decade, and every other year, when it's an election year, they have what you call Meet the Candidates. They call it various things on various years. It basically gives an opportunity for local people to meet their candidates, to have dinner with them, to really get acquainted with them. It's a fabulous opportunity. It's not a forum in terms of a debate or anything like that, but they get to know people really a lot more naturally and a lot more genuinely. So it's been a sellout crowd tonight. The place is full, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, and then you're taking the extra opportunity to get FaceTime and interviews.
Absolutely
with people.
right.
So it's just it's fabulous.
Well, they said there's about 250 people here today,
Right.
which
Cool.
is quite a bit, and you would think this is a more secluded area, if you will, to get that many
You have to
people.
know how to get here.
Right, and so that tells you the energy. You mentioned the names, the different themes each year. This year it's Keep America Free. Now,
Excellent.
that has a Tea Party feel to it, so it's kind of a, some people were complaining that the GOP in Tampa did not mention the Tea Party enough, and the Tea Party had a lot to do with keeping Paulers bleed. That's the theme of leaders out there today.
Absolutely.
It is not something new to those, for Americans that have always been traditionalists to the Constitution. But there's a lot of people today that have just been awakened to, wow, these are our liberties going away. And you hear a lot of the Republican candidates really putting their mind around those issues and truly letting the voters know that they see that too, and they're pushing back.
Absolutely. I think the choices could not be clearer this election cycle. I think we've just, certainly since we've just come off the Democrat convention, after the Republican convention, anybody that was paying attention and watching just small parts of both, there is a clear distinction and a clear choice. So if anyone is considering themselves independent, or they really any more of a clear choice. When they had the 3 times they voted on an amendment in the Democrat convention about keeping God and acknowledging Jerusalem in their platform, and they had to vote 3 times, and it was not clear. It was very divided. It was, I mean, I would take the challenges that we have in the Republican Party any day versus what we were seeing in plain view is going on in the Democrat Party. The schism between the very vocal people who did not want to have God.
Right.
Even I think it was just God fearing or something. It was not even a proclamation of God. It was just, actually, if you hadn't read it very closely, you probably would skip over it. But it was a very, very divided vote. And some would say that
outside with my wife, and my wife just happened she's into politics, but not as much as I am. Okay,
right.
Let's put it to you that way. But she saw the parliamentary process, and the one thing, 2 things: first, how many times it had to be voted on, and second, the power that an individual had to
simply
say,
declare it.
Hey, to all the people there and people watching, wait a minute, wait, that didn't sound like 2/3 to me, not even close. The way it is now, I think that's a big problem. That's something that we need to address in 2012 and 3/4, that we should really look, even in the Republican Party, about taking our parliamentary procedures and making sure that the will of the people are being heard. Because that we saw in real time. It's very rare to see that thing on national television.
Exactly. And I'd like to point out a contrasting situation. A lot of people that were at home and weren't able to actually be in Tampa. I was fortunate enough to be a delegate, so I was seeing this up close. But there was a situation that arose with one of the committees on the platform. They were going through the drafts, and there was something that is kind of slid in there about and these are the rules for the Republican Party for the next convention 4 years from now. But they wanted to put a thing in there that said that the presumptive presidential candidate would have actually the final approval of all the delegates attending the national convention. And the 2 people, there are 2 representatives from every state in the union, so there are 100 people on this platform committee, 2 from all the 50 states, and they brought the Texas representatives on the platform committee, brought this back to our delegation meeting in the morning, and people went crazy. We wanted to make sure that did not get, that got amended in the platform, so that it really is truly a grassroots participation, and that someone who is the presumptive presidential candidate, I mean, who knows who that might be in 4 years?
Right.
But it would be the Republican presumptive candidate who would look at the list after you'd been recommended from your state and then had the ability to say, oh, no, I don't want that person to go. I don't want that person to go. We were furious.
Yeah.
And so the Texas delegation and other states got together and got that completely eliminated before it came to the floor. So we were fighting over that much of a fine-tuning of the choosing of the delegates, and they were contrast that with actually having a what sounded like a pretty large majority of the people voting wanting to keep God out of their platform. So that to me was a very clear example of the extreme differences of the 2.
There used to be a line in politics that didn't seem to get crossed, or maybe it was hidden, and now it's being exposed. And only time will tell. It's a saying that, to paraphrase Lincoln, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all the people all the time. The one thing I will say that's good about what's going on right now with the Obama administration and all the things that are being pushed on in this country, and the Constitution would be one of those things for sure, is that people are being exposed. We're really seeing in real time people pushing against what the founding of this country really is and the freedom that we're supposed to have, right? And what's good about that is that the light is being shined in their darkness. But then the responsibility is for us to do something about it.
Exactly.
And that's the real challenge right now. And that's why I see a lot of the retirees that, that are heavily involved in politics now. And I talk to them, and I mean people 70 years old and above that I've talked to. they're truly worried about the future of this country, and they know they're physically running out of time, if you will. And that's why you see so many of them now standing up, whether it's Tea Partyers or Republican, a lot of people pushing, because it's a desperate time. It isn't to rabble rouse and to get people, upset for no reason, but we truly are in some very challenging times.
I totally agree. And I think that, many who maybe just assumed even in the past, I'll vote for this conservative person, and then I don't have to worry about things. Well, I think we're finding out that we have to be very vigilant with everyone that we vote for.
You make a very big point, because the old wolf in sheep's clothing, I remember, I think it was 2 years ago when I was asked to be the MC of the Travis County Republican Party Ronald Reagan event, and I'm up on stage, and folks, you have to understand, there's several hundred people at those events also, and we're at this game ranch here in Texas that has a lot of mounted animal heads all around. Okay, a lovely room of death, as they would say, and it's a real cool place.
Hunt room.
Yeah, it's a very big hunting room. But I said, I got up on stage, and I'll never forget this, and I said, I want everybody to look around, really look around, because I believe that there's a rhino in the room. And I remember people going,
brought the house down.
The rhino in the room. And then, of course, I'm making a joke. It's right up there on the wall. Right. But it's also to make a point that we're watching ourselves, too. We're going to police ourselves as much as we'll police somebody else.
Absolutely.
And I say that to the people out there, that I believe there's 30% at least that are on the Democrat side who truly are there because they believe they can't fit in with us. They believe that we're not policing ourselves, that we're just as bad, so it doesn't make a difference. I believe there's 30% of the people who don't vote who feel that way also, that I put out to them that isn't the way that we are. Now, I can't say that everywhere you go within the Republican Party. There's issues everywhere in life. But we are doing the best we can to police ourselves, especially now moving forward, because, yes, people do try to get in. They do try to come in and get their agendas across. But that's why true conservatives, and I don't want it to be hijacked, the term conservative. A true conservative does that. They balance their own checkbook. They make sure that they ask the difficult questions, and they demand the answers of those politicians that are supposed to lead
exactly.
them.
Absolutely.
And that's the way that I believe, and I know that's the way that that we try to do it very hard in Travis County. I know you worked very hard to make sure we have the right candidates being shown the best way that we can. And but that's my pitch, if you will, to the people that I know we need that we don't have now within the Republican Party.
Absolutely. Well, and we've talked about the big tent previously,
Sure.
that, including people that do have different points of view, but there is a solid foundation of being personally responsible, paying your bills, not expecting to be, living on deficits and having other people take
That's right,
responsibility
sure.
for your life. So being consistent with how you live your life and looking to government and expecting government to at least run its finances like a home budget. If you've run out of money, you've run out of money. You need to stop spending.
Sure.
So some very simple things we need to always make sure that our Republicans don't go to Washington or don't go to the Pink Dome and forget who brought them there.
Absolutely right.
I think we are. The sleeping giant has awakened.
Well, absolutely right. Toro is a
Yes.
great movie from World War II that quoted
That's right.
that. And, I have a couple minutes left here. And again, we're speaking with Dr. Rosemary Edwards. She's the chairman of the Travis County Republican Party. What are the big races in Travis County that you need to showcase? What are the ones that people need to know about, that the Republicans who may not be thinking they need to show up to the polls because of this momentum that's supposed to be out there? What are a couple of the races in Travis County that you can talk about that people need to pay attention
Okay,
to?
I would love to. We have a countywide race, a young man, Vic Vaught,
That's right, I had him on the show
VIK,
earlier, as a matter of fact.
and he is a very enthusiastic young man, first time running for any elected office. He is well qualified to be the tax assessor collector. He understands the important, very important role with the taxing role, the tax assessor role, as well as the registration of all the voters in Travis County. That is a very, very important job. He will do the job professionally. He will be a hands-on person, and we really are wanting everybody in Travis County to go all the way down to the end of the ballot.
That's a fact. You got to go all the way
down to the
That's
end.
Exactly
now
right.
you can vote straight Republican ticket, but I find that most Republicans don't necessarily do that. They really want to know their candidates. That's why this event is so important, so that you put a name and a face together. You know what they're standing for. You get to meet them. But unfortunately, the candidates can't meet everybody. The Travis County Republican Party is going to do a second edition of the ballot book, which we mailed 2 years ago to all of our Republican voters in the primary, when you choose between Republican and Democrat to vote, and then also the people who voted in the Republican runoff. So they will get a booklet that shows the entire ballot, the way it looks, with Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Green Party, everybody, the way it looks on the ballot, and then we will have an explanation of each one of our candidates, from the Congress to our local officials. And we did this 2 years ago, and we had great success with that. In fact, we increased the number of Republicans that voted straight ticket by almost 16,000 votes after we did that. And I hasten to say we're not advocating voting straight Republican, but I think that the intelligent vote, or the studied vote for Republicans, would be a straight ticket vote, because they've had an opportunity to read about all their candidates. They had an opportunity to say, well, I feel confident in all of those people who are running on the ballot, so I can just vote straight ticket because I've done my homework. This is going to be an opportunity it's going to be mailed to them the week before early voting starts, mid-October or early October, so they can read all about it, have plenty of time to research it, to figure out who they're represented by reading their voter registration card.
Right.
So it's kind of a one-stop shop. So we're excited about that, and we think it'll really help our candidates, and also help our voters be more informed voters.
Absolutely, because Travis County, being such a Democrat stronghold for so many years, I think you're hitting the nail on the head, where education's the key to winning over the smart Democrat, if you will.
Exactly.
That may think they know the issues, but only been listening to one side for a long time. We put out very conscientious and sophisticated pieces of material that prove through dialogue, through the facts, where they are mistaken, and give them their dignity. I'm a big fan of that, giving people their dignity so they can, it's hard to, even when you're wrong, to show up somewhere and go, okay, here I am now, the old tail between your legs. There's a lot of people who bought into a philosophy just this last election that even didn't vote before ever. And it's okay. It's okay if some of those people showed up for the first time and voted for an administration because they believed in what it said.
Right.
And so
it was a strong message.
That's exactly right. And now that, listen, things haven't worked out the way that they were promised, and you sending out the information like you are doing and teaming up with the ballot book, and obviously what we're doing here with my show and then Be First in Media, this is our steps to make sure that we get the information out there, to get the facts out there, and let them fall where they may.
Right. Exactly.
And that's the key to me, and that's why we have the freedom of the press, and that is why local events like this matter.
Absolutely.
And they're extremely important. I mean, national stuff's big. Ted Cruz has been on my show many times. I love that his father was here tonight. I met him and talked with him up at the convention. But the bottom line is, this is where it is. Local politics really control
and they
your
really
household.
affect more of your own hard-earned money, with taxing authorities and that kind of thing.
That's absolutely right.
National. So.
Well, thank you so much.
Great.
And the website, folks, if you want to check out more what's going on with the Travis County Republican Party, go to traviscountygop.org. Dr. Rosemary, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Craig. My
Wonderful
pleasure.
to see you again.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's what it's about. It's about getting the information out there, understanding who's saying what and why, okay? And, as they say, push on the sponge. Push on the sponge to see what's in it. Because let me tell you a little story. Just a quick story. If you took a brand new sponge, and you took a sponge that's full of liquid, but just enough that it's not dripping out, and you laid them both down on a table in front of you, they would look identical. Really, they'd look moist, they'd look full, they'd look plump. But it isn't until you pushed on those sponges until you see what's inside. And more times than not, the murkiness will be exposed. Push on the sponge. Ask the questions. Show up. If there's something going on in your community, if you're outside the state of Texas, God bless you. If you're in Omaha, Nebraska, if you're in Los Angeles, California, if you're in New York City or sitting down in Tampa Bay, Florida, ask questions. Show up at the events. Go to the town hall meetings. Bring your kids with you. Get the education out there, okay? And that's the way to do it. And again, this is Craig Bushon on BeFirstInMedia.com, broadcasting from the North Shore Republican Club here in Lago Vista, Texas, at the Keep America Free Gala event. More about this in just a bit. Thank you so much.